everybody! So today we're going to talk some more about asteroids, specifically what the fuck you do with them and what the fuck to pull. Recently on this channel there have been some videos about asteroids. Me and Elle of Stellar Sanctum were talking about different asteroids in the love stuff video. I made a video about healing asteroids and put it out this week. So I've gotten some emails from previous clients, a couple, where they're asking, they're like, okay, I find this interesting, but there are so many of them. What the fuck do I do with them? And how the fuck do I know what to pull? And where the fuck do I start? They didn't put it like that, but I could tell it was kind of overwhelming, right? Like, because there are so many. So I'm gonna tell you some things that I would do, or how I start doing this. Of course, if you want to take a different approach, to each their own, do it, go for it, you know, but this is what I would do. This is where I would start. And this is kind of how I work with them in general. So the first place I would probably start, if I were dipping my feet into the asteroid pool, would be to pull the Asteroid Goddesses. I think they're a good place to start. And by that, I'm talking about Juno, Vesta, Ceres, and Pallas. And the reason I say that is there's a lot of information already on them that if you pull them, it's going to be easy to find information online about them. I've even done videos on them, on these specific ones. So you can find them here on this channel. You can find them online on other web, whatever. But there's a lot of information out there about them. The book Asteroid Goddesses is an awesome one. Can't recommend that highly enough if you're interested in these specific asteroids. So I think this is a good place to start. I think this is a very good place to start with the asteroid, with the asteroid exploration. Now, if you've already done that, right, you've already dipped your feet in there and you're wanting to go deeper into the asteroid thing, the first thing I would do is start thinking about things that really matter to you, things that are important to you. Perhaps things that have to do with like hobbies that you have, or the work that you do, or just things that are important to you. I would think about what those are. And then I would pull asteroids that have to do with that. Now, when you go to astro.com and you look on their asteroid list, I mean, it's fucking massive. It's massive. But there are asteroids for things, right? Like, for instance, astrology. I'll use astrology as an example. There are some asteroids for astrology. There's like Astro Wizard, there's Urania, there are some other ones too. But there are asteroids for astrology. So if you're interested in astrology, you could pull some of the astrology asteroids. And at some point, I'd actually like to do a video on the astrology asteroids and things like that. If you're interested in magic, there are asteroids for magic. There's one that I think of off the top of my head. There's Merlin, for instance. If you are interested in dance, you could try to find some dance asteroids. If you're interested in music, try to find some music asteroids. I would start with things that you are interested in, or things that mean something to you. This is where I would definitely start with the asteroid thing. And you can also Google, like, if you're like looking at this list and you're like, this is fucking overwhelming, you can Google like asteroids for astrology, asteroids for dance, asteroids for magic, asteroids for music, asteroids for healing abilities, like the video that I did this week. You can Google and things will pop up, give you the name. Hopefully they'll also include the number. But I think that's a very fun place to get into asteroids. And I think it's a very meaningful place to get into asteroids as well. And I'll kind of, let me show you what I mean. Okay, I'll show you something from my chart that I think is really kind of cool. Okay, so here is, you see Mars is at 0 degrees Scorpio. Urania is at 0 degrees Scorpio too. And Psyche is also at 0 degrees Scorpio. Now, as I mentioned before, Urania is an asteroid for astrology. It's one of the astrology asteroids. Psyche is psychological. It also means soul. And Mars is the planetary ruler of my North Node. So this does, because it's the planetary ruler of my North Node, it does make me think that perhaps what I'm doing is right. I actually think the asteroids are a really cool thing to look at with the nodal axis. With the North Node and the planetary ruler of the North Node and mind you, like, it might not be direct, like, oh, this is what you're supposed to do. Don't take it like that. It could be, but don't take it like that. But it's more like, if there's an asteroid that happens to conjunct the planetary ruler of your North Node, or an asteroid that conjuncts your North Node, or even the Pluto polarity point, right? Because I would also look at Pluto and the Pluto polarity point too with asteroids. Things conjunct those points could, especially if there's something that means something to you. I'm not just necessarily talking about rando asteroids. I would definitely stick to things that mean something to you, or things that you want more of in your life, or what have you. I would definitely pull them and see if any of them happen to make any contacts to those things. Another thing you can look at are asteroid conjunctions to the planetary ruler of the South Node and the South Node too. Especially, like, let's say you have a feeling that something may have been important to you in a past life, maybe. Pull the asteroids that have to do with that, and see if they happen to touch the South Node, or the planetary ruler of the South Node, or even if you've got skip steps, do they touch a skip step? Do they touch Pluto? I would definitely look and see and play with it. I would definitely do that. I think it's fun. I do South Node, North Node work, Pluto polarity point work, past life work. And I don't always pull asteroids for people when I do this work, but if they send messages to me or emails, and in the messages or emails, some people are very, very chatty, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some people don't want to share anything at all, and that's fine too. I can work either way. I can do my work either way, work for you. But some people are much more giving with information about themselves, and if it seems like something is really important to them through the messages that they send, I might pull asteroids that have to do with whatever seems to be important to them. And I have noticed a few times there have been hits with either, like, the South Node or planetary ruler of the South Node, or Pluto, or with the North Node, planetary ruler of the North Node, or the Pluto polarity point, or even the ruler of the Pluto polarity point. I have noticed that this has happened. There are just too many fucking asteroids to pull to do this in the work regularly, but it is really cool when it does pop up. I think it's neat. Now for this kind of stuff, I would, especially with the nodal axis stuff, unless we're talking about a square, like a skip step conjunction that would also be squaring the nodes, I generally like to stick with conjunctions. I generally like to stick with conjunctions in general with asteroids. Usually, that's what I want to stay with. Sometimes I'll feel called to look at other things. Like, for instance, let's say like somebody that's into astrology, if they happen to have like 3 astrology asteroids and a grand trine, let's say like one is at 0 Leo, one's at 0 Sagittarius, one's at 0 Aries, and it's really tight like that, okay, that might make me take notice. I might take notice of that. But generally, I am focused more on the conjunctions, and I use an orb of 2 degrees, applying and separating. Some people might think that this is too wide. Some people might think this is too narrow. Whatever you want to do is fine in that regard. But that is kind of where I stay. Sometimes I will widen it slightly. It really depends on what all is going on in the chart as to why I would do that. But 2 degrees applying and separating is generally kind of what I stick with for asteroid conjunctions. But everybody's different. You might have a different way that you want to do this. But yeah, I think they are fun to play with. If you're not interested in this, I'm just going to say this real quick. If you're not interested in asteroids or you think they're bullshit, I don't really want to hear your opinion on that. So I'm going to say that right now. Those comments will be ignored. I make that comment because I know some people do, and that is okay. That is your right, but I don't give a shit. So, yeah. I think they are a fun thing to play with, and they're a fun thing to fuck around with. And I encourage people to fuck with astrology, learn new things, play around. But yeah, this is kind of how I use them. And obviously any conjunctions to any planets in general are going to be important. Not just the nodal axis, but I do really like playing with it with the nodal axis. I think that that's fun, really fun to do. But like, I mean, you could have things that are important to you that pop up conjunct your sun or conjunct your Venus or whatever, and it kind of drives home, okay, this might be, this is clearly important to this person through the chart. Another thing you can look at asteroids with is things that maybe you want to bring into your life more. You can also take this approach as well. Like if you want to bring more happiness into your life, say, you could look at some asteroids for happiness. Google looking up happiness asteroids or whatever asteroids that mean happiness. See if any make any prominent conjunctions in your chart, say. Maybe that conjunction gives you some idea as to how and where to bring more happiness into your life. This is just one way you can play with it, but I think that's also a cool way to mess with them. Anyway, I am going to get going. I will put where to find me in the description box. And I may or may not have already changed the channel name to Let's F with Astrology or LFW Astrology. By the time I post this, I'm not sure. If I haven't, I probably will. I'm just letting everybody know. So if it looks different on your subscription, whatever, we're still the same thing, just changing the name for YouTube's algorithm. All right. Well, I will see you all later.